Hey guys, Steve Welch here, standing in front of a third generation Tundra. I wanted to show you something that you might not know about it. That's one of the reasons I got the hood open here. It's actually pretty sweet to know this, right? So there's a couple things on the front of this thing that's gonna kind of show you something that you don't normally see on a lot of vehicles, right? So you'll see right here, you've got two radiator caps. And you might wonder what's the radiator cap? Why is there two of them, right? Well, you got one that says engine here and the other one says intercooler, right? What's intercooler? Well, intercooler is part of the turbo system, right? That allows the vehicle to actually water cool the turbos. But it gets better, right? If you look here, you look down, you'll see this little silver thing that's down here, and it's actually a radiator. If you look down through here, you can see that there's a small radiator on this side and another small radiator on this side. Well, you've got a twin turbo vehicle, right? So you've got two different turbos on your Tundra, and something that's really cool about the Tundra is that being water cooled, you actually can cool the turbos even after the engine stops running. So one of the things, if you ever look at the owner's manuals on most turbos, it'll say to let the engine run for 2 minutes, to wind down the turbos and to cool them off. A lot of things that you're supposed to do with a lot of turbos. Well, Toyota's smart enough to know that the vast majority of people will never do most of the things that they always say to do with turbos. So Toyota tried to make it to where it was a little bit proof of that. So basically meaning that it, Delta. All right, but they wanted to make it a little bit to where if that person didn't do what they were, the best thing for the car, they wanted to make sure that the car could still last as long as Toyotas are supposed to last, right? So what they did is they actually have an individual motor on those. So after you shut the vehicle off, that motor can still actually pump water through the turbos to help them to cool at the proper rate to actually make the turbos last longer. So just something they do that realistically vast majority of people don't know about, right? So that's something that they do there. The other thing that you got is if you look down here, and a lot of Toyotas are coming out with this, you have these little baffles, and you can kind of see I'm moving them around here. See those little, they're moving there? Those little baffles that actually can shut off the airflow going into the grill. Well, why would you want to do that? Well, there's actually a couple reasons why you'd want to do that. Well, one of the main reasons you'd want to do that is to heat the engine up quicker, which that might not make sense until you actually think about it. An engine, especially one that has turbos on it, will run more efficient when it gets warm. The best thing that you can do for the engine is to allow it to get up to operating temperature as quick as possible. The vehicle, those right there are all automatic, you don't have to do nothing to them, can close those baffles in order to basically make sure that the engine heats up as quick as it possibly can, and then open them accordingly to make sure that it runs at the temperature that is optimal, right? So what is it? I don't know, look at your gauge. But the point is that there's a range that Toyota wants it to run at. And if it does, we got plus, there we go. I should have guessed, would have been right. Anyway, but they want the vehicle to run at a particular temperature so those baffles can open and close to get it to that temperature. So even like right now, it's about 90 degrees outside. Even now, those baffles, if I started this truck, those baffles would close to help, or at least partially close, to help the vehicle get up to the heat as quick as it could, and then they would open up to keep it cool, right? Just a lot of stuff that the vehicle does to try to make itself last longer, run more efficient, all kinds of fun stuff, right? But those are just those things that are right here under the hood. So you have that intercooler. There's actually an intercooler that's right here. That's under there too, which every piece of the system is well thought out by Toyota to make the longevity happen. Well, I actually asked an engineer one time and asked him the question. There's a lot of people that were worried about turbos on vehicles. And they're like, well, don't turbos go out quicker? And I asked an engineer, how would you respond to people that are concerned about turbos? And his response was actually pretty good. He said, so when I asked him that question, he said that we did not lower our expectation of longevity, quality, anything like that by putting a turbo on a car. And in fact, if they did anything, they actually increased it. right? Because they knew that it had to be better. So Toyota's continually trying to make their vehicles better. If there have been hiccups, sure, but they're continually trying to make it better. I want to show you something else on this too. So another part of making the vehicle more efficient, if you look on the bottom there, you'll see that there's no shrouds down there, which makes the approach angle on this vehicle, which is what you'd use for off-road, it makes it really, really good. But what if you're on the highway? That's kind of a trade-off that you have. And Toyota thought about that too. Check this out. So I can manually turn the vehicle on here, turn this off, hold this for 10 seconds or so. After I've shut it off, now what I'll do is I'll come down here, and now you can see that the shroud has lowered. Well, what's the point of lowering that shroud? Well, it really is NASCAR technology. So if you can make the vehicle act like it's lower to the ground and get less airflow under the vehicle, it can actually make it a little bit more efficient. So that's something else that it does on most of your Tundras. So hey, just a few things that you might not know about your Tundra, and hey, a lot of other Toyotas have some of the same features, especially those baffles that are in here. That's on a lot of stuff. Tacomas, 4Runners, the Land Cruisers have them, Tundras obviously, but it's coming on a lot of them. Toyota's found that is a really good idea. So what do you guys think? Just some more stuff you might not have known about your Tundra, and there you go. All right, so Steve Welch here. You guys have a great day. I'm gonna talk to you soon. Bye.